The first component that we'll test using the React testing library is our add-to-do component. In our application, this component is the input with the button add to do, which allows us to add in a new to-do and select the add to do button in order to add it to our list of to-dos. This component utilizes style components, which we'll not cover in this course. And as the user types into the input, the onChange method calls the update input value method. And this method will set the to-do value with the value that was typed in to the input. When a user submits the form, then the onSubmit handler is called, which calls the handle submit method. And this method will prevent the browser from the default behavior of refreshing. It calls the add to do method, which is a dependency to our add to do component. And it sets the to do value to an empty string. So it essentially clears out what we've typed inside of our input value. To start testing our add to do component, we'll create an add to do.spec.js file. And we'll need to import a few things. First, we'll import React as we're using JSX. From the React testing library, we'll import the render method, which will allow us to render our component into the DOM. And finally, we'll import the component itself, our add to do component. I'll create an it block to house our test. And what we want to test is that our component accepts values for the new to do. Because our component has a add to do dependency, which we do not want to actually call inside of our unit tests, what we can do is create a mocked version of this. So I'll create a variable called mock add to do and set it equal to a just mock function. Now we can call the render method and render our add to do component. We'll pass in as our add to do dependency our mocked version. It would be helpful to see the resulting HTML output as we test our application to make sure that we can visually see the expected results. Off of the render method, we can use object destructuring to access many available methods. To help us see the rendered output of our component, we can use the debug method. Once we've used object destruction to pull off the debug method, we can start using it in our test. We'll save the file. We'll run our test. And as you see, the resulting HTML output of our component is displayed in the console for us to view. So in summary, we imported React. We imported the render method from the React testing library. We imported our component. We created a mock version of our add to do method, which is a dependency for our add to do component. We used object destructuring to grab the debug method off of our render component, and we used it in order to see the resulting HTML output of our component.